Okay, so we talked about the inverse of polynomials, rationals, and radicals. Let's look at exponentials. Okay, finding the inverse of an exponential. Now, y'all did really well on that solving logarithmic and exponential equations. Let's see how much of it you remember. If we switch x and y here, we've got x is equal to e to the y. How do we get y out of the exponent? Natural log. We write it in logarithmic form. The base was e, so that means we use the natural log. So the inverse of this function is the natural log of x, which you should have already known because we talked about that when we talked about e to the x and the natural log. We said that they were inverses. Okay, so let's make it a little bit more interesting. Let's make it a base of 4, and let's put a minus 1 in the exponent. All right, so x is equal to 4 to the y minus 1. The y that we're trying to solve for is in the exponent, so the only way to get it out is logarithmic form. This time it would be log base 4 of x. Log base 4 of x is equal to y minus 1. Would put that in logarithmic form. Remember, you can check it using the swoop. Start with the base, go around the equals, that's your exponent. And then what's inside the logarithm is what it's equal to. And then we've got to get y by itself, so we add 1. But just like with those square root problems, make sure that it is clear that the plus 1 is not inside that logarithm. So if you want to put parentheses around the x, or if you just want to make sure there's enough of a gap there, just make sure it's clear that that plus 1 is outside the logarithm, not inside the logarithm, because there's a difference. Okay, let's start with one in log form. X is equal to log base 2 of y plus 3. How do we get the variable out of the logarithm? Exponential form. So 2 to the x equals y plus 3. Subtract 3 from both sides. That's 2 to the x minus 3 is equal to f inverse. Okay, notice the minus 3, not in the exponent. Okay, it's not in the exponent. It would be in the exponent. Let's just talk about this for a second. If the original problem had looked like this, okay, if it had not had the parentheses around the x plus 3, that means the plus 3 is not inside the logarithm. So we would have had to, well, I haven't switched my x's and y's yet. But we would have had to subtracted the 3 first, then wrote it in exponential form. Okay, so slight difference in how you start makes a difference in what your inverse looks like. Okay, all right, so